In that distant and mysterious land of moonlight, a vision of flourishing prosperity unfurls like a dreamlike scroll. Every inch of this land seems to be bathed in the gentle glow of a goddess. Its shimmering radiance reveals peace and harmony. All races have abandoned their past conflicts and divisions. Under the wise guidance of the king, they maintain an intricate and stable balance like interlocking gears. Yet beneath the calm surface of the lake, dark undercurrents stir. That young king who was meant to be the steadfast fortress guarding this paradise has lost his way in the temptation of power, gradually descending into tyranny. His power surges like a raging tsunami, seemingly indestructible, forcing the people to dare be angry yet fear to speak. In a corner of the kingdom, a group of hopeful and courageous souls quietly gathers. A lady with an upright posture and resolute expression stands proudly before them. She urges everyone with a passionate and determined voice to cast aside those trivial differences and unite like a clenched fist. This historic scene has never occurred in all the past years, and at this moment they harbor but one goal in their hearts: to overthrow the brutal rule of the Demon King and restore light to this land. This lady appears as if chosen by the goddess Stra as her envoy, drawing mysterious and powerful strength from the goddess. She clenches her fists and swears to the clear sky to save all living beings and restore the former glory of the land of moonlight. Among the crowd there is a maiden named Ire, whose delicate body trembles. Her eyes are filled with the fear of death. A male elf softly promises Ire that he will protect her completely and keep her safe from harm. Not far away, a young man full of vigor gazes upon the vast army assembled before him and adventurers from every direction. His eyes sparkle with excitement and anticipation. He waves his arms and proclaims loudly that the Demon Kingdom, facing such formidable power, stands no chance. Victory will surely belong to them. Yet at this moment the gears of fate let out a sharp creak. The Demon King suddenly appears. He hovers in the air looking down upon the assembled multitude. A cruel and mocking smile curls at the corner of his mouth. That grating laughter seems as if it could tear the sky apart. You ants gathering here are simply courting your own doom. Now with just a single strike I can turn you all to dust. Fear spreads among the people like a plague. Their reason is instantly shattered, and they begin to flee in panic. Though they desperately retreat, their hearts are filled with doubt, unable to comprehend how the Demon King can be so elusive. After all, his kingdom lies miles away, as if separated by an insurmountable chasm. In the midst of their escape, the Demon King waves his hands, summoning multiple magic arrays in the air that emit an eerie glow. Those lights flicker like the venomous fangs of a snake exuding deadly danger. Then strange objects imbued with the aura of death fall from the arrays like raindrops. A girl looks up in terror. In an instant her breath seems choked by an invisible hand. The air grows thick and suffocating. Her eyes widen in horror and despair. Another girl shows a hint of wisdom and calm in her gaze. She keenly perceives the terrifying power of this magic. Her lips tremble as she murmurs to herself, "Such overwhelming power. How could we possibly survive?" Just as everyone sinks into despair, a brave girl like a shining meteor rises against the tide, determined to break through the Demon King's defenses and deliver a fatal blow. Seeing this, the Demon King snorts coldly, quickly erecting a mighty barrier as tangible as if it were real, upon which dark energy surges, resembling an indestructible fortress wall. The girl shows no fear. Clenching her teeth, her eyes burn with unyielding flame. She charges toward the Demon King. In that instant their clash produces a deafening explosion. A massive burst of light instantly illuminates the surroundings. A shockwave sweeps outward like surging tides. Yet astonishingly, the girl still stands firmly despite the violent impact. Her figure is as unyielding as a towering mountain. The Demon King widens his eyes, his gaze filled with astonishment and bewilderment. He cannot fathom how someone seemingly fragile like her could overcome so many obstacles to approach him, the Dark Overlord. He angrily demands, "What exactly makes you so powerful? An ordinary human could never possess such strength. Don't think you can deceive me. I will uncover the secret behind you." The girl is surrounded by sparks like twinkling stars. That light, like the dawn of hope, illuminates the surrounding darkness. She lifts her chin and steadily gazes into the Demon King's eyes. In a soft yet forceful reply, "It is something you will never understand." The Demon King, upon hearing this, feels a surge of anger. Being the most powerful and evil existence in this world, how could he possibly not understand? His curiosity ignites like a powder keg burning fiercely. He presses further, demanding to know exactly what it is. "Speak quickly." The girl's face blushes slightly. She nods shyly yet resolutely. Softly she utters a single word: "Love." The Demon King seems to have heard the most absurd joke in the world. In disbelief his eyes widen. "Are you claiming that with nothing but this intangible love, you can break through my specially crafted blood spine and dark matter barrier?" The girl's cheeks grow even redder. She nods, gently conceding the fact. Suddenly the Demon King feels an unprecedented strange discomfort. His mind goes utterly blank regarding love or anything related to it, as if shrouded by a thick mist utterly incomprehensible incomprehensible. He tries to calm himself. After all, he is the Demon King who has pursued power on battlefields for centuries. How could he lose composure before everyone? He ponders silently. Surely he has heard of the power of love, but never experienced it firsthand. At this moment, he cannot let the enemy know that she is not lying, nor can he let them detect the turmoil within his heart. So he forces a calm demeanor and snorts coldly. Utterly absurd. I am the omnipotent Demon King. How could I not know what love is? Then he turns his gaze to the girl with a hint of ridicule in his eyes. You hero of the human kingdom, today you shall witness my might. Let us see once and for all who is right and who is wrong. After saying that, he abruptly turns around in a mix of anger and embarrassment, intending to leave. Wait, the girl shouts loudly. Though her heart is filled with dejection, she cannot help but feel a tinge of embarrassment. That complex emotion intertwines within her, causing her voice to tremble slightly. The scene seems to shift instantly as if by an invisible hand. Arriving at the grim and majestic castle of the Demon King, his chief general, upon hearing that the Demon King had retreated mid-battle, stands frozen as if struck by a bolt of lightning in shock and bewilderment, his face filled with astonishment and confusion. The maid hastily rushes over, her eyes equally filled with shock. Whisper softly, General, I have just heard that the Demon King in the heat of battle with the hero has flown back to the castle. The chief general widens his eyes. His voice turns hoarse with excitement. How could this be? The Demon King never retreats in battle. Where is he now? The maid, her hand trembling, points in a certain direction. Since his return, he has been sitting there all day staring at the sky, as if lost in deep contemplation. The general frowns, perplexed. He slowly approaches. Sure enough, he sees the Demon King staring at the sky like a motionless statue. The general silently speculates. Could it be that the Demon King is devising a new strategy to defeat the hero in one fell swoop? Yet at this moment the Demon King's heart seems swept by a storm. He continuously questions himself. Could it really be that he fails to understand love? What kind of mysterious force is love after all? He loves war. Do the passionate life and death struggles on the battlefield count as love? Suddenly the Demon King seems to awaken from a deep slumber. He stands up abruptly, determination gleaming in his eyes. I have decided. I am leaving. At these words the chief general hurries forward to dissuade him. Your Majesty, please reconsider. Yet the Demon King moves like a whirlwind, swiftly taking action. In the blink of an eye he vanishes from the spot. The general, frantic, rushes to catch up, running while shouting, Your Majesty, do not act impulsively. Where are you going? The Demon King's voice echoes in the air without looking back. I am going to seek love. The general, as if struck by lightning, halts abruptly in his steps, his face filled with astonishment and bewilderment. He never imagined the Demon King would utter such words. The Demon King then performs a wondrous transformation, taking on a human form as he quietly embarks on the road to the human kingdom. He weaves through the bustling market, watching the myriad people coming and going. He is filled with amazement at how easily he infiltrated the kingdom's heavy defenses. His gaze is like that of a greedy hunter scanning everything around him. He yearns to experience human life firsthand, to savor that ordinary daily life for which heroes are proud. He quietly unleashes the power of the demon eye. That mysterious gleam hidden deep in his eyes flashes and vanishes. In an instant he surveys the entire city. At that moment he sees a sleazy man, entangled with a young and beautiful girl. The man's face wears a repulsive smile, muttering, Little beauty, I fell for you at first sight. Don't be afraid. Come with me for some fun. The Demon King understands perfectly. This is what humans call love. A sneer of disdain curves his lips. He secretly thinks to himself, seeing is believing. He is determined to try it himself. Soon he fixes his gaze on a girl walking alone. Seeing her solitary figure, he guesses she might not have any company, an ideal subject for an experiment. He quickly approaches and gently places his hand on the girl's shoulder. Wearing a self-assured, gentle smile, he says, Miss, from the moment I first saw you, I fell for you. But before he can finish his words, the girl, like a startled fawn, suddenly turns around. Her eyes filled with caution and confusion ask, What are you doing? The Demon King is taken aback. Squinting, he realizes that the person before him is the hero he had encountered earlier. He widens his eyes, his heart filled with astonishment and perplexity, silently wondering how she could be here. This unexpected encounter feels like a sudden storm, catching him completely off guard. Meanwhile, the chief general tightly follows the Demon King, but in the crowded throng he seems like a ship lost at sea. In the blink of an eye there was no trace of the Demon King. He anxiously looked around everywhere, but to no avail. The hero looked at the Demon King before her and murmured to herself, He had just admitted that he liked me. Surely he was playing some kind of trick. Her palms were beating beaded with fine sweat, and she was extremely nervous. She worried that if he discovered her true identity he would surely laugh at her, especially if he learned that I am the Demon King from the Demon Kingdom. The consequences would be unimaginable. She took a deep breath and tried her best to calm herself down. After a moment of thought she said, "You admire my fighting style." The Demon King was slightly taken aback, but then quickly recovered and nodded. "Indeed, you can instantly switch from melee to explosive magic. Such ability truly impresses me. Any human would find that remarkable." The hero secretly wondered, how does he know all this? These details are known only to those who have fought her before. She felt a surge of panic in her heart. Her cheeks slightly flushed with embarrassment, while secretly thinking who in real life would say such sappy words. It was utterly shameful. She had spent her life diligently practicing magic swordsmanship and various combat skills, all in order to be able to stand against him on the battlefield. But now actually speaking with him face to face, she felt as clueless as an ignorant child, completely at a loss, resorting only to babbling nonsense, her only thought being to make him shut up. Deep inside she remained on high alert, suspecting that all this might be a carefully designed trap by him. Perhaps his reaction last time was nothing but a ruse, aimed at making her lower her guard and then strike when vulnerable. How could he possibly take her words seriously? Sure enough, the Demon King was well versed in manipulating human emotions. The hero gritted her teeth inwardly, vowing never to let him succeed again. She quietly called upon the goddess Stella, focusing her energy as a faint holy aura enveloped her body, as if she were cloaked in a layer of sacred armor. Meanwhile, Dazel, seeing that the situation was unfavorable, thought to himself that it would be better to keep his distance from her at the moment. The crowd around them, as if discovering a new continent, began to chatter loudly. Someone with a look of astonishment speculated, could she be the Holy Maiden, that legendary sacred lady? A man, his face full of devotion, nodded in agreement. I can feel a warmth, like the gentle spring sunshine, instantly filling my heart. Upon hearing this, others hurriedly gathered around, their eyes filled with awe, their mouths incessantly begging, Holy Maiden, please bestow upon us your blessing. The hero, looking at the chaotic scene before her, felt utterly confused. She tried to disperse the crowd by shouting loudly, everyone leave here quickly, it's dangerous. However, the crowd seemed to be paralyzed as if under a binding spell. Paying no heed to her words, her anxiety grew even more. She secretly thought that if, because of her, these innocent people were harmed, she would be burdened with guilt for life. At that critical moment, Dazel, like a gust of wind, instantly dashed to the hero's side. He reached out and tightly grabbed her hand, and whispered, hold on tight, after which he lightly snapped his fingers. In an instant the two seemed to be swept into a mysterious vortex, vanishing from that spot. When the hero came to her senses, she felt dizzy and disoriented, as if she were a small boat adrift in a stormy sea spinning wildly. She steadied herself, only to find that she was actually sitting on Dazel, and he was looking at her with a helpless expression. Dazel teased, how long do you intend to sit on me? Though you're not heavy, this position is indeed a bit awkward. Upon hearing this, the hero's face instantly flushed red. She hurriedly opened her eyes and backed away in a panic. Glancing around, her eyes were filled with confusion and astonishment. Where is this? Why did you bring me to your room? Dazel nonchalantly stood up, patting off the non-existent dust from his body, and explained, I could only teleport us to the place I marked last time, and that place I marked last time was because one time in the middle of the night I wanted to fetch Harry from the bathroom, and so I casually marked it, but unexpectedly it turned out to be my bedroom. The hero's face grew even hotter, as if being roasted by fire. She stared wide-eyed in disbelief and questioned, am I really in your room? Dazel shrugged with a calm expression. That's right. Moreover, Devar is currently in a castle deep within the Demon Kingdom, so you can rest assured. Hearing this, the hero's heart blazed with anger. She glared and demanded, do you really expect me to believe that you're helping me? Dazel, with an innocent look, replied, every word I said is true. The hero snorted coldly and said no more. She waved her arm lightly, and her palm emitted a dazzling glow, instantly summoning two swords that shimmered with a cold gleam. With the tips of the swords pointing directly at Dazel, she declared, today I shall finish you here. Meanwhile, outside Dazel's bedroom door, the maid Luna was about to report something to Dazel. She had just reached the door when she heard a commotion coming from inside. Startled, she gently knocked on the door and said, Your Majesty, I've come in. With that, she slowly pushed the door open and immediately saw the scene inside. Stunned into standing still, maid Luna, seeing the awkward scene, felt as if her face were being burned by fire, instantly turning bright red. In a panic, she lowered her head and hurriedly backed out, continuously apologizing. I'm sorry, Your Majesty. I didn't know you were busy. For disturbing you. Dazel, watching the maid's retreating figure, felt increasingly puzzled, truly not understanding what the maid thought had happened, as if the scene had been gently smoothed over by a tender hand. Then switching back to the human kingdom, after many twists and turns, the girl finally returned home. She lay on her bed in exhaustion, recalling the day's ordeals, as if she had experienced an absurd, surreal nightmare. She had thought that after attending that exhausting noble meeting, after a whole day of busy work on behalf of the Holy Church, she could leisurely stroll around town to experience the warmth of mortal life, to relax her tense nerves. But who would have thought that she would encounter the Demon King? She stared at the ceiling siblings secretly pondering. What was the true intention behind all his actions today? Surely he was plotting some sinister scheme again. After multiple clashes with the Demon King, she felt like an injured bird, having lost the will to continue fighting. But fortunately the academy was starting classes the next day, which was like a glimmer of hope in the darkness, bringing her some solace. At least within the territory of the Holy Church, she could be away from Dazel's suffocating demonic aura. Perhaps she could find a moment of peace. She had stayed awake all night, searching everywhere for the trace of the Demon King, but he appeared like a ghost, appearing without any warning, and disappearing as if evaporating from the mortal realm. Forcing herself to gather her wits, she looked around, only to see a crowd gathered below like a bustling market. Curious, she secretly wondered, what are these people doing? A girl beside her seemed to read her mind, and smiled as she explained, today is the first day of enrollment for new students. I heard that many talented young people inspired by the Holy Maiden have come here to enroll. The girl laughed self-mockingly upon hearing this, secretly thinking, as the Holy Maiden I shouldn't be enrolling in the academy, but should focus on diligently training to improve my strength, always ready to confront the Demon King. Yet sometimes a longing would arise in her heart to be able to be like an ordinary girl, to experience an ordinary campus life. Just as she was lost in thought, suddenly it was as if she was struck by lightning, her eyes widening in shock, because she saw that the Demon King and his general were also among the new students, and her heart was thrown into turmoil, secretly wondering what they were doing there. The general leaned close to Dazel and asked in a lowered voice, Your Majesty, why are we enrolling in the Human Academy, especially since this place is imbued with a sacred aura, making me feel completely uncomfortable? Dazel slightly raised his eyes and surveyed everything around, a look of deep meaning in his eyes as he softly replied, When I was investigating the hero's residence, I heard about this academy, that if one truly wants to understand her, knowing the environment in which she grew up is crucial, and this chance discovery is indeed a fortunate coincidence. After hearing this, the general's eyes flashed with sudden realization, and he secretly admired it, realizing that the king's actions had another deeper meaning. It seemed he truly intended to thoroughly explore the hero's weaknesses, preparing every measure to defeat her. He could sense that their victory was seemingly one step closer. Dazel nodded slightly. With a stern and determined look he added, Remember, be close to your friends, but even more so be close to your enemies. The general immediately echoed, Your Majesty's wisdom. I will do my utmost to help you understand everything about the hero. The other students witnessing this scene seemed to be frozen as if under a paralyzing spell, standing silently in place with wide open eyes and astonishment, staring at them in complete amazement. A dignified and elegant lady stepped forward. Her voice was clear and melodious. Before the test began, everyone needed to present an offering to the goddess Stella. Dazel and his general exchanged a glance, instantly noticing the stark social stratification within the crowd. Dazel's gaze fell on a purple crystal that emitted a mysterious luster. He mentally estimated that this object must be of considerable weight. He strode forward and placed the crystal steadily on the table, and then proceeded to place several more in succession. This action was like throwing a giant stone into a calm lake, instantly causing the priests to widen their eyes in shock. The general understood the reason for their reaction in his heart. These crystals were of the highest quality material, extremely rare gemstones in the world, possessing magical powers, allegedly capable of transforming ordinary weapons into legendary artifacts. Dazel's wealth far exceeded what ordinary people could imagine, even when the human kingdom was at its peak of prosperity. In comparison, it was nothing but a drop in the ocean. The two priests, as if disturbed like quails, hurried forward in a rush, following the lady's instructions to destroy these prohibited items from the demon lands. However, Dazel and his general merely watched with indifferent eyes, observing as those precious crystals were casually placed into inferior rings, as if pearls were being covered in dust. A tinge of mockery arose in his heart. The time had come for the test participants to start shooting at the targets. A boy seemingly eager to display his bravery rushed forward first. His movements were graceful and fluid, effortlessly and perfectly hitting all the targets, and then with an indifferent look he shrugged, as if it were nothing more than a piece of cake for him, muttering, What's the big deal? His companions gathered around him like stars orbiting the moon, with unceasing words of praise, calling him the best. The general's eyes were sharp, instantly noticing the students who presented lavish offerings. The shooting distance is only 10 meters, while those students assigned low-level rings have a shooting distance that extends to 100 meters. He inwardly snorted. Humans' obsession with social status is truly baffling. The priest loudly called for the next participant. It was Dazel. He was to hit the target from that distant 100 meters. The boy before him, as if out of goodwill, stepped forward to wish him good luck. Meanwhile, Dazel's eyes scanned around. He noticed several girls openly expressing their admiration for the boy, muttering in a coquettish tone, We love him. Dazel appeared lost in thought. It appears that to earn such admiration, one must prove one's ability, even if one comes from a humble humble background? If so, then today he will treat this test with utmost seriousness. He would go all out to show everyone his strength. Without hesitation, Dazel raised his hand. His palm appeared to gather boundless magical power. In an instant he unleashed a meteor storm at the target. For a moment the sky seemed to be torn asunder. The meteors resembled colossal burning boulders, rushing down with an aura of complete devastation. Seeing such ancient and formidable magic, the onlookers were rendered motionless as if frozen in time. They were instantly stunned, standing dumbfounded in place. The general turned to look at Dazel. There was a trace of admiration in his eyes. He remarked, "This is merely a level 1 meteor storm, but due to His Majesty's powerful magical enhancement, it appears far more imposing." Just then the heroic girl arrived like a swift gust of wind. She, in a state of burning urgency, immediately used the Sanctuary Exile skill to protect the building. She waved her hands, and a dazzling barrier appeared as if conjured from nothing. It emitted a divine radiance. It steadfastly blocked the meteor storm, preventing any damage to the surroundings. Then, like an ignited powder keg, she stormed angrily towards Dazel and grabbed his collar. She demanded, "What are you trying to do?" Dazel remained calm. He simply, in a flat tone, called her hero. She, like an incensed lioness, replied, "In the middle of our fight you suddenly vanished, and then reappeared in the city without any warning. You even teleported me to your bedroom. What exactly is your intention?" The other students and Dazel's general, upon hearing her words, as if they had heard earth-shattering secrets, instantly their eyes widened in shock. The hero continued explaining, "I had finally prepared to get some sleep after enduring so many hardships, and you appeared outside my room again. Do you know how much sleep I've lost because of you?" A lady with flushed cheeks, as if mustering tremendous courage, approached the hero and cautiously asked Dazel if he was her friend. Then she hurriedly apologized, but still suggested that they take their private conversation elsewhere. The hero seemed to be shocked awake as if doused with cold water, realizing her misstep, and quickly corrected herself, saying, "He and I are not involved in that way." She paused, secretly worried that if the truth about Dazel being the Demon King were to be exposed, that would undoubtedly trigger chaos of epic proportions. At this moment the Demon King is present on the Holy Church's territory, and moreover in the heart of the city. This is tantamount to lighting a fuse on a powder keg, surely causing all of the church's paladins and warriors to rush out. At that point the casualties will be incalculable. Her mind was in utter disarray, completely at a loss as to what to do. Dazel seemed to ignore her distress. Instead he asked the lady, "May I take the test one more time?" She had just interrupted me. The hero seemed to consider it absurd, raising her eyebrows, and questioned, "Is this really the crucial issue at hand?" She sighed in resignation, yet she apologized, saying that the rules allow only one attempt, "But since you clearly have a close connection with me, I will let you pass the test." She further remarked that with your mighty meteor attack just now, if applied on the battlefield, it could easily obliterate the Demon King's forces. Dazel seemed to catch the implication in her words, and remarked, "My relationship with you is exactly as you imagine." At that moment the general couldn't help but interject, "I also know the hero, and I too can summon meteors." He said thoughtfully, "I cannot allow the hero to fail this test, especially since I must stay in step with my king." A few days later both Dazel and the general wore school uniforms. After putting on the school uniform, Dazel appeared transformed, looking unexpectedly handsome. When asked, he simply answered, "It's just a school uniform." Suddenly the general seemed to have discovered a new world. Noticing that on Dazel's uniform near his face was the Holy Church's emblem, Dazel seemed to have expected it. Pointing at the general's uniform he retorted, "Don't you have one as well?" The general, as if struck in a tender spot, hastily diverted the conversation. Dazel looked around and saw that everyone was staring at him. The general, as if aware of everything, commented, "This is because you showcased such a magnificent meteor storm, and clearly humans hold you in high esteem." Dazel inwardly doubted, yet he also sensed that this admiration was somewhat different from the one shown by the other students during the test. The general was not mistaken, for people's views were entirely different. They were furious, as if their sensitive spot had been struck at Dazel taking the hero to his room. In private they suspected that he had bullied the examiner, letting him be admitted without having to offer a sacrifice. They considered it a despicable and shameless tactic. Dissatisfied whispers lingered like haunting specters, spreading rapidly through the crowd. Dazel and his general walked side by side. He appeared to be lost in thought, saying, "I wonder what kind of training the people at the academy will undergo." The general replied, "It's only the first day. They might start with a 200-kilometer run as a warm-up." Then the general, as if remembering something, asked, "Are we really in demon territory?" Then glancing around he asked Dazel, "Have you felt any danger or hostility?" Dazel in a casual manner pointed to the hero standing not far away and said, "I can see her." The general appeared resigned, feeling that the hero hadn't even attempted to hide herself, even though she was glaring at them. Yet the two of them seemed not to notice and continued walking ahead. Dazel, as if formulating a strategy, suggested, "Let's pretend we we didn't notice her. The general, still anxious, murmured, "This seems quite troublesome." The hero, like an enraged bull, shouted loudly, demanding that you stop ignoring me. Saying this, she dashed towards them like a whirlwind, insisting that they let her finish speaking, because she knew they could hear her. "I have a lot to say about what happened a few days ago." She turned the corner only to find them nowhere in sight. Discovering that they had disappeared, she, dejected as a trapped animal, in despair shouted, "Wait for me," she explained. "I just want to talk about why no one listens to me." She appeared utterly aggrieved, feeling that even the headmistress was shifting all the blame onto her. But she could not speak the truth, as that would only incite even greater chaos. She sat there like a wounded solitary goose, crying, secretly wondering why such things were happening to her. Suddenly Daisel appeared before her like a ghost and asked, "What do you want to talk about?" She, like a startled rabbit, stood up and glared at him. He, with a note of concern, said, "I heard you want to talk," and then asked if you had been crying all this time. In response, she, as if venting her anger, kicked him, firmly insisting, "I haven't cried." Even though his presence loomed over her like a mountain, she said, "I won't cry in front of a demon," even though tears still glistened in her eyes. He, in a teasing manner, used a finger to block her leg, and asked, "What is it in your eyes?" She, like raging fire, replied, "I'm very angry," and asked, "Do you know how much trouble you've caused me?" She challenged him, saying, "If you want to fight, then come on. I believe demons should fight straightforwardly and fairly, but if you're merely toying with me, making my life a misery, then that would be utterly awful." His face, as if bathed in the glow of the sunset, flushed slightly. He said, "I did mean it, but I'm hesitating to speak what I truly mean." She, like an impatient creditor, shouted at him, urging him to hurry up and speak. His face turned as red as a fully ripened apple, and he confessed honestly, "I want to understand the meaning of love. That's the only reason I came to the human school." She, as if having heard an unexpected answer, forced a slight smile, suppressing her emotions. Daisel thought to himself, she must be very happy now that it has been proven that I was right.